Hey everybody, it is Brahma Bull, and I am taking the plunge. I'm making my very first video. Um, I've chosen a topic that gained a little traction last night while I was on Supreme Heretic's channel for his birthday stream. It sparked some conversation. So, what I'd like to talk about today is a bit more political than we might be most of the time. I mean, normally we'll be in the pop culture, but world events and politics are definitely going to fall in the purview of what I want to talk about. So, I'd like to draw your attention to a tweet I actually saw yesterday. Candace Owens tweeted out regarding the Russia and Ukraine stuff going on. Basically, she said, I suggest every American who wants to know what's actually going on in Russia and Ukraine read this transcript of Putin's address. As I've said for months, NATO, under direction from the United States, is violating previous agreements and expanding eastward. We are at fault. I don't know much about, Ukraine. I do know that things have been escalating recently. I do know that there are portions of Ukraine that are almost breaking off and trying to be independent. But I do know the way that NATO works as far as if one of our NATO partners gets attacked, then we are bound to attack on their behalf or defend on their behalf, which is what brings us to the Security Council speech that Putin gave yesterday. And he basically said this is why we have intensified our work with our main partners in Washington and NATO over the past few months and in late 2021. So we can reach an eventual agreement on these security measures and ensure the country's calm and successful development under peaceful conditions. We see this as our number one objective and top priority. Instead of confrontation, we need to maintain security and ensure conditions for our development. Putin went on to say, but we must, of course, understand the reality we live in. And as I have said many times before, if Russia faces the threat of Ukraine being accepted into the North Atlantic Alliance or NATO, the threat against our country will increase because of Article 5 of North Atlantic Treaty. That clearly states that all countries in the alliance must fight on the side of their co-member in the event of an aggression against it. But since nobody recognized a will expressed by the people of Crimea and Sevastopol, and Ukraine continues to insist that those are Ukrainian territory, there is a real threat that they will try to take back the territory they believe is theirs using military force. Then the entire NATO alliance will have to get involved. As you know, we have been told that some NATO countries are against Ukraine becoming a member. However, despite their objections in 2008, they signed a memorandum in Bucharest that opened the doors for both Ukraine and Georgia to join NATO. I have not received an answer to my question as to why they did that, but if they took one step under pressure from the United States, who can guarantee that they will not take another step under pressure? There is no guarantee. So this is interesting. It kind of gives you a little bit of insight into what the Russians may be thinking. I know that Putin is a very shrewd politician. He stayed in power for a long time. I don't particularly have any love for Putin or Russia for that matter, but you can kind of see some things from their point of view. Ukraine is basically the buffer between Russia and NATO. The fact that we are basically going against our own treaties and trying to bring Ukraine and possibly Georgia into the NATO alliance creates a number of problems both for us and for Russia. If Ukraine were in NATO and there was an attack against Ukraine, every NATO country has to go and defend them. Really, I think at this point, diplomacy is the only option because you can't have a situation where we have to defend Ukraine. If we were to let Russia take part or all of Ukraine, I can guarantee you that what we would see next is China is going to take Taiwan and Hong Kong because, unfortunately, we have a leader who is not effective in any way. And as you may have noticed, through the whole Trump presidency, Putin basically behaved himself. Now, some people will claim that that's because they think, Trump was a Putin puppet, but I think it's probably more because when Trump draws a red line, he actually means it. When the Democrats do it, not so much. We saw that under Obama. In fact, the last time that Russia was acting squarely on the world stage was under President Obama. And now that we've got Biden and Biden's complete ineptness at all things foreign policy, I think you're just seeing leaders test out what's going on. That's my take on it. I would love to know what you think. Leave some comments for me. If you like this, hit like, hit subscribe, share it with your friends. Trying to get this thing going, and looking forward to seeing you guys all the time. So thank you. Cheers. Have a great evening.